If you're here to really dive into your wealth imagination or reimagination, then this is the channel where wealth meets earth meets inner trust. That's what this is about. Let's talk about this fear, this deep fear that we have around money, and not the one that is super trying to eat you every moment, but the subtle one, the one that follows you everywhere, the one that stares at you when you want to read a menu and pick the thing that's really juicy and delicious, and then you see something that's a little bit less expensive, or you go for the side, or that moment when you're looking at gas and you just freak out about the fact how much it's raised, or just even avoiding looking at your bank accounts. Then this video is for you if you feel that deep fear, because I can tell you it's not necessary, and there is a much more gentle, easeful way to start working with this deep-seated fear that you can't seem to shake. And the fact that you're feeling this fear is actually really great. The fact that you're observing it and aware of it, because as you're aware of it, then we can start to just create a different experience rather than react to the old ones. So with that being said, let's jump in. My name is Taylor Anna Garrett, and welcome to The Wealthy Changemaker, where we talk about all things wealth, impact, and even existential overwhelm, which really fits in these days and times because there's some weird, crazy shit going on in the world. Back to what we were talking about with the video and this amazing topic. I had somebody ask me yesterday, I want to handle this deep-seated fear that's always there that I'm really ready to release. So if you're ready to release it, then you're in the right place. If you still need a little bit longer with it because it's keeping you safe, or it's allowed you to entertain certain beliefs that you're not ready to let go of, then that's okay. Now, if you're here to really start working with that deep-seated fear, then this is a great conversation for you to just have it in your head and listen to my voice and what I'm about to talk about, because it's worked for me. I went through incredible experiences in a crazy journey around money, from losing our house in the 2009-2008 recession. And we were one of those families in the United States that had foreclosure. And in fact, we had 2 weeks notice to move out of my childhood home, the only home I'd known my whole life. And that was the beginning of what became a really hard era of money issues, where we lived month to month. We were giving our babysitting money, and we were taking out student loans in college to help our parents pay rent, and it just became a very unsafe, unstable era. So if you've had anything akin to that feeling of, not being able to be provided for, or you didn't know where the next money is going to come from, or you don't know how to consistently create your own, then this is where the conversation begins to create something different. And that something different is something we don't know what's going to happen yet. And we're not here to fix you. We're not here to make you better. We're not here to make it all go away. We are here to be present with this insane experience that you've had with money. Not insane because it's bad, but insane because it's really unique to your own journey and your own gifts, which is dope. And we're going to play with it. So stick with me here. Now, the first part about ever dealing with your money relationship is we go into what I call, and what others have called, gentle observation or witness consciousness. And when we start to kind of go through and take a catalog or look at our money relationship like it's data, then we can start to observe and see the patterns, see the beliefs, see the thoughts, and when they come in, and when we get into that reaction mode. And we're in reaction mode when you start feeling that deep fear around money. That's how we start detecting it. And if you're in reaction mode, we know you're not creating your relationship with money. You're just replaying an old tape that you learned from an earlier time in your life. So this requires us to get really present with where we are so that we're not necessarily blaming the past, blaming our parents, blaming the economy, but we're actually starting to observe, because this is how we bring your power back to you. And maybe you're like, okay, Taylor, I've been observing for a long time. I've followed a lot of money work. I know this. Then this is something that you haven't actually done before, because when we get into observation, we know we're not repeating the same pattern from the past, and we know we're not repeating the same tactic and technique and strategy, but we're actually getting present with what is. And when we can start to see the moment in front of us, we can also start to see our resources. We can start to see that it's actually a beautiful experience because I am alive, and maybe I came here to experience this. And one thing that is really powerful, that I was rewatching the movie King Richard. It's, with Will Smith. It's one of my favorite movies about belief systems, where belief systems are really, really powerful, and how Serena and Venus Williams just became the best of all time, the best in the world, through the sheer power of belief that led them to the actions, that led them to the opportunities and the perseverance to become who they became. And in that movie, when Venus Williams is playing the number one tennis player in the world at the end, and she loses, spoiler alert, oops, then that moment when her parents come in to her locker room and tell her, if you don't respect yourself now, you never will. And this is exactly what's happening now. Is if you feel like you've lost your game with money, or you're at a loss with your game with money, this is the moment to start respecting and honoring yourself. Because if you don't do it now with this deep-seated fear and maybe even panic around money, then you never will. And this is the moment to create that honor and respect for yourself. And just knowing that gives us a whole different field to play on. It's not the shame, it's not walking out and putting my head down. It's I walk, I feel the emotions of the panic and I observe them, and I let life continue to move in front of me so that I can experience the next opportunity, the next thing as it comes along, because it will come along, because that next money is coming. That next 10 million, 10,000, 10 million, whatever that number is for you is coming. And if you have these like feast-famine cycles, which is something that I'm not sure why I'm riffing on feast-famine cycles, but that's something that I really, really was challenged with. And because I was a sole proprietor, I had my own business. I have my own business. But in the beginning, it was really, really challenging to own and to create that consistency when I watched my parents have feast-famine cycles where my dad would go make a big deal and then we file for bankruptcy a few months later because they mismanaged their money, or all these crazy things that we do with money when we're reacting. And that is what happens when we react instead of create. And if we're not responsible and we're not respecting ourselves, where we are now and who we are and the freaking amazing just being that we are here, if we're not doing that, then we're in total reaction and survival. And that's a completely different money game. But if you're on the Wealthy Changemaker channel here, then this is really about creating something better, creating something that's just keeping you awake at night because you're excited about it. That one thing that you just want to do one more thing for and one more thing for. And you want to look at your accounts and you want to love up on them if it's $100 or $100,000 or $1 million or multi-millions. Doesn't matter, because it's the vibe we're starting to work with. And the vibe starts to be worked with when we get into observation mode. Because if you know, and I love doing this one, I want you to write out the word react, R-E-A-C-T, on a piece of paper. Like really, go write it out right now. React. And I want you to write out the word create, C-R-E-A-T-E. You're going to draw an arrow from the C in react to the C in create. So if we're reacting, it's all about where you put the C. If the C is first, then you're in creation. But if the C is second, the C is after the thing happens. The C is when I get that money. The C is when I'm aware that things are finally, like when things outside of me look like they're working out. Then that's the difference between reacting and creating. So if you want to create something new, then let's get into awareness and just watching. And then check out my channel for other videos where we're going to talk about different cool mindsets on what it is to really get into creation mode with wealth. And not just any version of wealth, the capitalistic, the one that society has really sold to us and packaged very beautifully, but the one that really aligns with you. For me, my version of wealth has a lot to do with living sustainably and getting, building my vision and my house in a way that's giving back to Mother Earth. So I'm not taking from the power lines, I'm not taking from the water systems, but I'm finding a way to help give that my house gives back to Mother Earth. And that's my vision of wealth, where I have lots of animals and nature around. But someone else, you may have Louis Vuittons, or you may have a big, beautiful sports car in that vision, a very expensive one. Who knows? That's up to you. So with that being said, I just want you to know one more thing, is that you are exactly where you need to be to do what you've never done for the first time. And if you take anything away from this video, that's it. Is you are exactly where you're meant to be, to do the thing with money that you've never done before. And that's where it comes to being in observer mode and trusting yourself, trusting where you are, and knowing that that's enough. That is enough. You are already enough. And if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, help her out, get some more people. This video is a feminine gender, apparently. And subscribe to my channel if you want to hear more, or go explore and see what else you find in my library. So my name is Taylor Anna Garrett, and I will see you next time on The Wealthy Changemaker. Ciao.